everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with historythroughcards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So I wanted to share with you a story about a film actor in a very neat set called the 1920 F&J Smith's Cinema Stars. Um, and as you can see right here, this is Charlie Chaplin, probably one of the greatest film actors of his generation, if not then, now as well. And if you haven't seen the movie Chaplin, go and check it out. Robert Downey Jr. is probably one of my favorite actors of all time. I do love a lot of stuff that he does. And in any event, um, this set actually includes most of the film stars of the 1910s and 1920s that have contributed the most to Hollywood. Um, it's basically its founding, and that includes Mary Pickford, Mabel Normand, John Barrymore, and the set also has um, Tom Mix, yeah, and just a whole slew of others. And today I really wanted to kind of tell you about one of these people, but um, here's a couple of pros and cons to go along with this set. Now, as you can tell, the card itself is borderless, which could pose a problem when you're trying to figure out if it's trimmed or not. So, what I usually try to do if I'm going to a show and I know that I want to kind of pick up a tobacco card here and there, I'm going to have with me a sample card, um, and that way I can kind of compare and contrast to make sure all the dimensions are correct. And in this case, I do have these cards, but I've never seen them at a show. But I'll usually bring a card like this. So this is actually a 1928 Will's Tobacco Cinema Stars of Harold Lloyd. In fact, Harold Lloyd is another cinema pioneer for his use of camera work and also how do you explain it? Um, just the way that he was able to do stunts really kind of changed cinema. And again, Buster Keaton as well is in that category. Is I guess trying to just not get off subject too much, but Harold Lloyd really kind of broke the mold with that. Um, the way he filmed uh, this stuff, and he paid the price for it too. He had an explosive device in his hand that went off and got a couple of his digits. Anyway, uh, I always end up trying to, stay on topic here, but it's really difficult when you have so many damn good looking, nice cards in front of you. And anyway, getting back to the 1920 F and J Smith's cards, um, there's other issues as well. Centering can be a little bit of a problem with the set, and unlike say like the 1930s British cards, which are usually found in like near mint condition, that's not the case in this set. Um, I've seen a lot of cases where there's a lot of tobacco staining with them, and also I think they have soft edges as well and corners, um, and then just just because they're white, right? So that presents some issues, and then again, you're gonna find that these cards have a lot of creasing as well, and they're also expensive. These are not cheap cards compared to other issues later on down the line. But on the plus side is that if you do like the silent film era, you're gonna really enjoy this set. PSA has graded about 33 copies. But that doesn't mean that obviously there's 33 known to exist. That's just how many PSA is graded. The majority of these cards you're obviously going to find in raw condition, and I've actually had to go over to England and France. Not me personally, but my credit card has gone there. I just haven't. Uh, yeah, it's gone everywhere that I haven't. So, um, I've actually gone over there to pick up these cards because I haven't seen them here. In a lot of cases too, it- um, the film actors and actresses in this set are not really found in a whole lot of other sets. Mary Pickford, for example, that card took me about probably 5 years to try to track down a copy, and I've seen two copies in that time, and they're both in dog shit condition. And this is this is my example. And so I'm kind of proud of the fact that I just kind of took my time with it and didn't buy the first copy that I saw, which sometimes as I always say, it's easier and it's probably better to pick up what you can find in any condition and then upgrade. But with this set, I really haven't found too many cards to upgrade. So that was unusual for me, and it's not something that I usually do. I usually try to tell people to um, pick up the card that you can in the condition that A, you can afford, and then B, if it's a um, an expensive card and it's an off condition, that's do it. But in this case, these cards aren't all that expensive compared to what they are. Like the most expensive card in the set, I think, is Charlie Chaplin here, and he has two cards in this set, and I have seen this card go for at least $100 or more. And I obviously did not pay $100 for any of this stuff. My my limit is kind of low because I'm a cheap bastard. But yeah, in a lot of cases, you want to pick up the card that you can find, or you can, find out later in a better condition. Just kind of upgrade. Some of these cards are going to be difficult to upgrade. Is really what I'm trying to say. So, that's not the case with Harold Lloyd, the card I just showed you. In fact, if you were going to start collecting vintage movie star cards, I would actually suggest uh, picking up a set of the 1928 Willis first, just to kind of get your feet wet. And because you can actually grab that set for maybe about 20-25 bucks, as it's a 50 card set. And this set is it's not the easiest one that you're gonna find. Um, anyway, so getting back to this today, I actually wanted to show you and tell you about uh, Fatty Arbuckle. So, um, Fatty Arbuckle is really interesting. His career and his trials. Now, mostly people today know about Fatty Arbuckle as a cautionary tale, and it is. It's an absolutely something that you should study because it's not just about Fatty Arbuckle. There's the Justice Department, and then there's the news media too. And Fatty Arbuckle was actually I think he was one of the highest paid actors of his time. By 1921, he had over 100 film credits to his name, and he had just signed a $1 million contract. When on September 5th, 1921, he was wrapping up a photo shoot or a film shoot, and he got into a little bit of an accident. He burned himself, his derriere, got a second-degree burn, but that didn't stop him from uh, getting in his car and driving with two of his friends to the Hotel St. Francis in San Francisco, and there was a pretty big party going on that he wanted to attend, and I can't really say I blame the guy because he just had a grueling shoot. Um, he also was really he was probably one of the biggest actors of his generation as well of his time, and I don't just mean large. I mean he knew everybody, and he actually found Buster Keaton. And so this is actually a 1933 Salem Gold film set from Germany, and I'll be talking about him as well at some point because this is a phenomenal card. And again, I think I got this one in France because you don't see these cards often, and I'll be discussing that too. Um, anyway, so there are certain versions of this story, and it's something that has confused the hell out of me for a long time. There's Fatty Arbuckle's version, and then there's other versions as well, and um, most notably somebody by the name of Bamina Maud Del Monte, and she was actually the friend of Virginia Rapp, the girl who, the victim in this case, who uh, passed away. So when Arbuckle ends up there, um, there's a whole lot of I guess there's problems, let's just say, and the news media really kind of fouls everything up as far as the truth is concerned. And this is just one story that I found that is really inconsistent. But I'm going to tell you exactly what this says right now. Had Miss Rapp's death been caused by accident, Arbuckle could only have been charged with manslaughter. From the fact that District Attorney Brady, after a thorough investigation, had Arbuckle charged with first-degree murder, it being taken in legal circles to show that he has information that Arbuckle either perpetrated or attempted to perpetrate criminal assault upon the girl, the act or acts of which resulted in her death. Dr. William Oeflis, who made a postmortem examination of the dead girl's body, gave out a statement that, quote, there was absolutely no evidence of criminal assault, no signs that the girl had been attacked in any way, unquote. District Attorney Brady evidently has information to the effect that either the girl was assaulted or that she was killed in an attempted assault. So the district attorney had to downgrade the charges from, I believe, first degree murder to manslaughter. And one of the things that was told to police by Bamina Maud Del Monte was that he did it. And I think Virginia Rapp also said he did it. But who were they referring to exactly? Um, as far as the prosecution case went, it was clear that it was Fatty Arbuckle. The fact that they found, or it was believed to be, the ruptured bladder that she eventually died from a few days later was caused by first ice, then a champagne bottle, and then a Coke bottle. And I'm not going to go into any disgusting details here, but that's basically what it's believed to have caused her death. Now, everybody said that it was, he was on top of her during a snuggle struggle, and that his weight was something that probably would have crushed her other than a ruptured bladder, um, being the fact that he was a man who weighed close to 300 pounds, I think 266 or so at the time. And I don't know what her weight was, but I can't imagine it was anything over a 118 or so. Um, and the problem throughout this case is who to believe. Obviously, um, Del Monte is someone who wasn't believable at all, and I don't know exactly what happened to her after this case. But then you have a Congo line of actors and actresses who would take the stand, and they basically canceled each other out because you have so many differing accounts of what happened. Um, and on one hand, you have Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, and I don't think they were there. In fact, I think Charlie Chaplin was not even in the country, but Chaplin was a big supporter of Arbuckle's, and same with Keaton. And then on the other hand, you have another actor by the name of William S. Hart, and I think he's in this set as well. But he was a big time actor in westerns, and he had actually never seen or he never met Arbuckle or did any kind of work with him, but he was giving interviews in the press saying that he did it. So you have all these inconsistencies between the actors on under oath, I should say, and in the press, and then you have the press itself, who is, I think, has a huge part to play in this as well. So, in particular, you have a district attorney who is really uh, I don't know. I probably would have disbarred the guy had I overseen this case afterwards, uh, because there is an instance where the prosecution brings in a security guard by the name of Jesse Norgard. Oh God. Anyway, and he testified against Arbuckle. The problem was that Arbuckle's lawyers found out that uh, the, uh, the the prosecution. Did I say defense? I meant the prosecution. So the prosecution ended up bringing this guy on the stand, and I think they knew that he was um, a snuggle struggler of an 8-year-old girl, and they promised him a reduction in his sentence. Uh, so I probably would have disbarred the district attorney if I had found that out, and that's pretty serious stuff. But that was just one of many instances that are very outlandish, including the media's portrayal of everything, um, where I don't think that they actually um, looked into the backgrounds of who was on under oath and what was going on. I think they just kind of ran with the story without doing their due diligence in investigating the backgrounds or what was going on in the courtroom. There's just so many um, articles in the paper at the time uh, with this story, but the problem is who do you believe? Um, the media is as it is today um, is really kind of yellow journalism at its very finest, and and even during the trials, um, Will Hayes from the Hayes Code uh, kind of pulled um, all of his films because they already assumed that he was guilty. Now, Arbuckle himself didn't do himself any favors whatsoever in any of these trials because his his story, his statements changed over time as well. Um, and so he's not. I, he's I think more of a sympathetic character by the time he reaches the third trial than he is during the first trial. Um, and he was not found guilty by the third trial. Um, but Hayes actually he banned all of his films, and um, they were only lifted I think like maybe a year after banning, but I could be wrong. That the Hayes Code actually uh, was instituted in 1930, and then really didn't it really didn't take effect until 1934. But by that time, Arbuckle had died the previous year on June 29th, 1933. Um, and we can talk about the Hayes Code at some other point too, because that's just a weird friggin' thing. And in any event, um, this story is just it's pretty disgusting from all sorts of angles. What happened to Virginia Rapp and um, her legacy basically was trashed um, by not only the media but by Arbuckle's own lawyers who said that she was promiscuous and that she had a reputation, and even Arbuckle had said that she was acting very funny when he walked in, and at one point she had taken off all of her clothes, which was kind of an oddity. But in other cases, a lot of the actors and actresses had said they witnessed this behavior before, and and that's really unfortunate. Um, Obviously, we don't really know what happened. These people's grandkids are, long since gone as well. And you're looking at over 100 years. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for the trials. uh, but so her reputation is trashed. Arbuckle's reputation is also in cinders. Um, even today, like we don't, he's only really talked about um, for the case and not the bulk of his career. The other thing too about all of this is the actors and the actresses of the silent film era. Um, and it's not them per se, but it's the technology that they used for their film. And what I mean by that is, um, in the case of baseball, when we study the ball players like SABR does, or even football with their Football Research Association, um, we look at two things. We look at um, the careers of the players uh, on on paper, what the press is saying about them, and then we look at the box scores or try to find box scores in order to complete a bigger picture of what is going on. Now, in film, we try to kind of do the same thing. Now there are no box scores, but there are newspaper accounts of these actors and actresses, and then they have their filmology. But and that's supposed to try to give us a bigger picture of their careers and what's going on in America. Because if you think about it, um, when you look at a film, uh, for the most part, you get details of what America is like at any given time. Same with baseball, too. In fact, it is a mirror. Baseball is, but I also think that film is as well. And that's a lot of times with these films, it is missing just because of the very nature of what the film consisted of. At any given time, like these films could go up in flames, given the right circumstances. Um, and so a lot of times we might have uh, just a snapshot or a little bit of a film, and then um, in certain cases, like the Marx Brothers' first movie, it is gone completely. Um, and in other cases, for an actor or an actress, there's nothing. There's no filmology to go on because all of their films have disappeared because of either rot or of temperature increases just destroy the film. And you also have two uh, instances where a lot of silent film actors can't make the jump from the silent screen to talkies. And there's actually a perfect film that kind of relays this in The Artist from I think 2011. And that's a really great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It is one of my favorites. Anyway, that was also going on too. And so um, unfortunately for Arbuckle, like he did pass away at age 46 in 1933. That's a very young age, and he's really only known for this. But I really want to kind of get your guys' take on this. So write down your comments below and let me know what you guys think. And if you guys want to start collecting vintage movie star cards, I'll help you. I'll help you out as much as I can. And along the way, I'm gonna kind of show you guys other sets as well and actors and actresses. Um, I actually grew up watching a lot of the film noir stuff from the 1930s and 40s. My dad introduced me as a kid. And obviously, like, the first black and white movies or shows I saw as a kid was The Three Stooges. And so that kind of got me into it. And then I started watching Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, and it just kind of like snowballed into what it is today and into what I collect this stuff. And another reason why I collect this stuff too is because it's a great escape from vintage sports cards, which can be kind of expensive, whereas this stuff is not, but it's still very fun. So with that, guys, I really appreciate checking out this video and give a like or subscribe and let me know what you think about this. So, I'll I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye.